Well, let's take a look at this little vampire film from 2001. Let's do it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. And the movie I'm referring to is 2001's The Forsaken. Yes, this movie was released April 2001. It's rated R, hour and 30 minutes long, had a budget of $15 million, and upon release worldwide, it only made 8.7. So this movie did bomb upon release. Matter of fact, I remember when this movie was released, I wanted to see it, but I grew up in a small area. There was only a few theaters around. You had to drive like 15, 20 minutes to get to one. And one theater had it. It was only in for a week, and then it was gone. I never got a chance to see it till it got released on DVD, then I purchased it. And this film stars Kerr Smith as Sean. At the time, Kerr Smith was just coming off of Final Destination the year before, and he was on the hit show Dawson's Creek. I used to watch Dawson's Creek. If you'd like to make fun of me, leave a comment down below. I'll greatly take any punishment I get. I deserve it. And the other main starring role is Brendan Fehr, who plays Nick. He was at the time, he just came off of Final Destination. He did not have as large of a role as Kerr Smith, but he was also on Roswell at the time. I never watched that show, but I know he was on it. And basically this movie is a little bit of The Hitcher with Near Dark. That's pretty much what they were going for, at least that seems to me, their influences for this film. Now, Sean, Kerr Smith's character, works for this small movie studio in LA, and he cuts trailers for this small movie studio. And his sister is getting married in Miami, but he does not have a lot of money, but he found a way to pay for his trip. There was a gentleman looking for somebody to drive an old Mercedes across country to this woman, and with that money, he can afford to go to the wedding and then fly back to LA. And he asks his boss for a week off, which his boss gives him a hard time, but finally relents and gives him the week off. Now, funny enough, the movie studio, reading about this film, there's not a whole lot of stuff about this film, but there's a little bit. The little movie studio that Kerr Smith's character works for, they base it on Troma Entertainment, and there's even a couple posters in the background on the walls in the studio for Troma Films as well. So that's a cool little nod they threw in there to Troma. And basically, Sean takes off across the Southwest. You see him driving through what I know is Arizona. I lived for 2 years in Arizona. It looks like Arizona, and I know looking at where they shot mostly outside of Yuma, Arizona, and a little bit in Utah. I know during the film they say they're in Texas, but they never went there to actually film it. And Sean runs into a little bit of a problem. One of his tires blows, and he has to pay out some money to get it fixed, and he spends the night at this hotel. Money he wasn't planning on spending. So now he's already starting to lose some of the money he thought he was going to make, and he runs into Nick, who begs him for a ride, pretty much. And Sean was told not to take any hitchhikers, but Nick tells him he'll pay for gas until he drops him off in Texas, and Sean says, okay. And basically, Sean doesn't know it yet, but he picks up a vampire hunter. That's what Nick is. And they find this girl. They're eating at this little diner in this town, and when they leave, they see this young blonde-haired woman being asked by a waitress to follow her outside, do you have any money to pay for your coffee? And the girl looks all like out of it, like she's high on something and distraught. And Nick's like, I could help her. Let's get her back to the hotel room. So they pay for the coffee, and they take her back to the hotel room. And they're trying to help her out, and Nick's going to inject her with something, and Sean's like, what the hell's going on? He goes, I could help her, but I need to give her this. And Sean holds her down while she's flaying around, and Nick gives her an injection of morphine, and she conks out. But unfortunately, before she conks out, she bites Sean on the hand. This is when Nick has to tell Sean that he's hunting vampires, and he's hunting the vampire who bit him, because if he kills the vampire, the original source of the virus that got to him, he'll be cured. And if they could do the same thing for Sean and this girl, because they know she's been bit by a vampire. And he tells Sean about how he's been controlling the vampirism from taking control of him by taking these drugs that were originally designed for AIDS patients. And he has Sean start on a cocktail, as well, as he calls it, and they start having to hunt this main vampire down. His name is Kit, and he has a crew. Simon Rex is in this film too. He used to be an MTV VJ way back in the day, and he's in this film as Penn. He's kind of like their Renfield. He drives Kit around, and this other woman who's kind of like Kit's girlfriend, and this other girl, and they have an encounter with them before Sean even knew they were vampires. They needed him to jump their car because their car died. They're driving around this Dodge Charger. And we're introduced to Kit's crew, and we see this. There's a cool scene where these kids are partying out in the desert, and Kit and his crew happen upon them and ask them for beers. and they kind of make fun of him and try to blow him off. And when the one kid turns around and starts laughing, Kit punches his fist through the kid's chest and rips out his heart. It's a really cool, effective scene, and it's one of the cooler scenes in the film. And then once Sean and Nick know who they're trying to kill, and Kit knows too, and he wants to kill them, Nick tells Sean they got to get him on holy ground and kill him. If they do that, then the virus will stop for them. And I'm going to fast forward through some things because it's basically a road movie. There's road chases, and then finally they end up at this house, this rundown house in the middle of nowhere, and this old woman takes them in, and they realize that her house is built on a cemetery because Nick had told Sean they have to kill the master vampire. They don't call him that, but I'm just saying that, on holy ground or sacred ground. And that's when we get our final confrontation because Kit and his girlfriend show up, and his girlfriend gets her head blown off with a shotgun, which is spectacularly gory shot. It looks really cool. And they end up killing Kit on holy ground, and they end up in the hospital because Sean is hurt and Nick had gotten shot in the shoulder. And Megan, the girl, the blonde-haired girl, is there as well, and she takes off, and Nick had already taken off. Sean can't find him. He already left the hospital. And at the end of the film, we see Sean driving up on Nick as he's hitchhiking in the same car the vampires are driving around in, and he's going to help him find... For Nick, that wasn't his master vampire. That was the cause of his strain of the disease. It was Sean's and Megan's, but not his. So he's off to find his. And Sean's like, I'm going to help you. And that's the end of the film. Is this film any good? It's entertaining to a point. The directing is okay. There's a lot of MTV style editing in this film, quick cutting with imagery. It doesn't work for me. There's some jump cuts that just doesn't work. But overall, there's some cool, effective shots. It's never scary. It can be exciting. It's not suspenseful that much, really. I never felt like our characters were in danger. Even though the vampires do kill quite a few people, I never felt like they were in danger at all. It's okay. The acting's okay in it. I like Kurt Smith as an actor. He does fine here. He's not asked to do anything. The head vampire comes off as a little cheesy in some parts, especially towards the end. Like, he's walking up the steps, and Megan and this older woman are hiding in the one bedroom, and he starts singing the lyrics to Enter Sandman by Metallica. It's not effective at all. It doesn't make him menacing at all. It just doesn't work, honestly. But you can still have fun with this film. It's okay. There's a lot of metal songs throughout. Coal Chambers played at one point. Loco by Coal Chambers played at one point when they kill this hotel manager. I like metal music, and I don't mind it being in this movie. It doesn't bother me. Overall, it's a middle-of-the-road vampire film. I would give it a 6 out of 10. Have you ever seen The Forsaken? I just gave it a 6 out of 10. What are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Also, make fun of me about watching Dawson's Creek if you like down below. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, all that great stuff. Share this video. I'd greatly appreciate that. You all take care of yourselves. I'll be back soon with another review. Thanks. Bye.